Hello, everybody. Welcome to Our Government, the Three Branches, Day 2. Now, I would like you to listen all the way to the end because at the end, I'm going to show you a project I want you to do and then post a picture of it onto Seesaw. Some of your friends have already done this, and I'm super excited for that, so please stay tuned for the end. Okay. And the other video is still posted if you would like to go back and watch. So I'm going to read the second half of the book today. So, on Tuesday, we learned about the legislative branch, okay? And today we're going to learn about the executive and judicial branch. The executive branch. The president is America's top leader. He or she leads the executive branch. This is a big job. About 4 million people work for this branch. The president makes sure our country runs smoothly. He or she must follow the rules in the U.S. Constitution. For example, the president cannot pass a new law alone. First, Congress has to agree that it should be a law. Then it can be passed. This is a rule in the Constitution. There are a lot of people who help the president. They are called the cabinet. The cabinet helps run different parts of the government. It also keeps the president informed. It tells him or her about events in the world. This helps the president work with leaders in other countries. Presidents represent our country in world matters. This means that they may travel a lot. They tour the world to meet with other leaders. They try to keep the peace. They make plans for the future. The president is also the commander-in-chief. This means that he or she is in charge of the armed forces. The president can send them to other countries, but Congress has to agree to send soldiers to fight. The president is not allowed to start a war on his or her own. Only Congress can send the country to war. This keeps the president from being too powerful. In America, people choose the president by voting. The person who gets the most votes becomes the new president. This happens every 4 years. A person can be president only twice. This means that no one can be president for more than 8 years. The president works closely with Congress. Congress passes bills. Each bill then goes to the president. He or she may sign the bill. This makes the bill a law. The president can also send the bill back to Congress to be changed, or the president may veto the bill. A veto means that the bill is rejected. This keeps Congress from being too powerful. It is part of the checks and balances system. So in this picture is Barack Obama, so we know this is kind of an older book because President Trump is our president right now. The judicial branch. The Supreme Court leads the judicial branch. It is the highest court in the country. It is in charge of all of the courts. The Supreme Court hears the biggest cases in America. It listens to people who do not agree on something. Then it makes a decision about what the law says. This is called a ruling. All courts must follow what the Supreme Court says. Its ruling becomes the law. The Supreme Court tries to treat all people fairly. The Supreme Court judges are called justices. They choose about 100 cases to hear each year. They make rulings based on the U.S. Constitution. The president picks the Supreme Court justices. There are 9 in all. One is the Chief Justice. He or she leads the Supreme Court. Most justices have worked as lawyers. Lawyers represent people in court and try to help them win a case. Some justices have even served in other branches of the government. There is no limit for how long a justice can serve. This means that he or she may serve on the court for life. A justice can quit or retire. If they do something wrong, they may be taken off the court. There have been more than 100 justices. In 1967, Thurgood Marshall was the first African American justice. In 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman justice. Today, there are 3 women justices. The Supreme Court makes sure that the other 2 branches are doing their jobs. It checks to see if they are following the U.S. Constitution. This is part of the checks and balances system. The Supreme Court justices work hard to protect people's rights. They look at laws to make sure they are fair. It is the job of the Supreme Court to say how the law works. If they think that a law goes against the U.S. Constitution or is unfair, it is thrown out. They have the final say on the law. Only an amendment to the U.S. Constitution can change a ruling made by the Supreme Court. An amendment is a change to the U.S. Constitution. Justice for all. America is more than 200 years old. So is the U.S. Constitution. We have the oldest working constitution in the world. Our early leaders made a strong constitution. It formed a government with 3 branches. The 3 branches check and balance one another. This way, one person or group does not have too much power. In the future, America will face new challenges. The Constitution will change. The 3 branches of government will change too. Our laws may change. New laws will be added. But there will still be a balance of power. The branches will try to treat all people fairly. There will always be justice for all. Write it. Learn about your local government leaders. Write a letter to a member of the Senate of the House, or write a letter to a local judge. Tell him or her what you think about our country. Explain what kinds of laws you think our country needs. Talk about the changes you would make to our country. Ask him or her any questions you have about our government. Okay, guys, now we're moving into the project portion. Now, I started this project on the last video, and I'm going to try to make it actually a little simpler this time. So we're going to do 3 branches of government. I'm going to make a tree, like a tree branch. Okay, start with the trunk. And you can just use a pencil or a pen. You can use colors. You don't have to make it super fancy. Okay. And I'm going to do my big bushy leaf parts. Okay, and these are going to represent the 3 branches of government. I'm going to start with this color. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Over here, I'm going to start with the legislative branch. And this is what I would like you to do with me. Okay, you're writing and drawing with me. Okay, it's a legislative branch. And in this branch, there's the House of Representatives and the Senate, or we could also call the House of Representatives Congress. So I'm going to write that underneath, Congress and Senate. All right, change my color. Okay, and you can always pause this video if I'm moving too quickly. I'm going to move over to this middle part here. Now it's the top branch, it's the leader of it all, and it is the executive branch. Okay, and who runs the executive branch? The president and vice president. I'm going to write VP. All right, change my color again. Let's see, green, no, orange. Okay, moving over to this part. And my last branch is the judicial branch. And how I remember this branch, let me make sure I spell it judicial. How I remember this branch is it kind of sounds like judge, judicial, judge. So this branch has the Supreme Court where judges work. And I apologize that my handwriting is messy. It's hard to write with this pen. Okay, so the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. Okay, now I want to go in and write the different responsibilities. And I started this on Tuesday with the legislative branch, but I'm going to simplify it a little bit. If you already wrote in the legislative branch, just leave it. Don't worry, you don't have to change it. I'm trying to make it a little simpler. Okay, so in this branch, they make the laws, okay? So I'm going to say makes laws. Okay. Then going over to the executive branch, we can remember what they do. They carry out the laws or enforce the laws. So I'm going to say enforce laws. Sorry, that was kind of messy. And remember, the president can also veto the law, meaning to cancel it or they don't like it. Okay. And the last part here, zooming into judicial, whoop. They make sure the laws are fair. Okay, that's kind of their job. So they okay. And the important thing about all of this is they all work together, right? They explained many times in this book that it's called the checks and balances, where one does not have too much power. They all kind of help each other. They all make sure they're doing each job, and that one isn't making all the decisions. So this is called checks. They check each other and they balance each other out. Checks and balances. Okay. This is the project I will be looking for today's assignment. I would like you to take a picture of what you created. You can do this in Notability, you can do it on your iPad, you can draw a picture of it on a notebook paper or a piece of paper and post it on Seesaw, and that's how you will get today's points. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Bye.